these go away, unfortunately. So these are constantly accessed and updated over the internet, so if you have a slow connection, this can sometimes slow you down. Also notice this box here. It's a 1 with a colon and a bunch of numbers in it. So what is that number? Does anybody know? The scale, right? So what's the scale of the map mean? So this is a ratio between the size of something in the map and the actual size in the real world. So it's unitless. It doesn't matter what it is. 1 inch on my screen is equal to, let's look, 80 million inches in the real world. Or one of my hands is equal to 80 million hands. Or 1 centimeter is 80 million centimeters. It doesn't matter what it is, right? But you can see the scale of your map, which you may want to know, because remember that data set, we were inspecting the metadata. It said it was optimized for 1 to 500,000. So I can actually type in this box 500,000 and hit enter, and it will zoom to that level. So I can see those data are actually optimized for being pretty zoomed in. Looks like I'm up near Chicago on my map. But you can change the scale arbitrarily just by typing a number. Another really convenient feature in ArcMap is to create something called a bookmark. And this saves both the scale and location, so you can access the same spot over and over. And I can't tell you how many years I used GIS before I learned about bookmarks, where I'd constantly go from one place to another, have to zoom out, pan around, way over on my map, and then reverse the process to go back to where I was just looking. So let's create a bookmark, use some combination of tools to focus on the contiguous United States. Try to center it as best I can. Maybe I can zoom in just a little more. Nope, I'll zoom out. So on my map, I'm at a 20 million scale with the lower 48 here in the middle. Is everybody there? So now if I click this bookmarks drop down here at the top, the first option says create bookmark. So if I click that, it wants me to put in a name, so I'll call it the lower 48, or rather just lower 48, and say OK. And now I'm going to click this full extent button to zoom out all the way on my map. And then if I go to bookmarks and drop down and click lower 48, I go right back. Right? So I can zoom into anywhere and immediately go back to that same spot. So let's make another one. Let's zoom into South Carolina as best you can, and then make another bookmark. And I'm going to call that one South Carolina. So again, I've zoomed into South Carolina. I go to bookmarks, say create bookmark, enter South Carolina, and say OK. Does anybody need help right now? Getting caught up?
I zoomed in too much. I don't know how to get back up.
Oh, OK. So I usually use the pan tool, because you can click and drag. But then if you use the mouse, you can move out and in this way. So then if you center it here, I'll move it back. Then you can say bookmark, create bookmark, and call that one lower 48.
Lower 48?
Yeah, for the contiguous 48 states.
Okay.
And then, yep. And then let's zoom into South Carolina and then just make another bookmark down there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now let's add some of the GIS data we previewed to the map. ArcMap, just like ArcCatalog, needs to know where those data live. So you need to connect to a folder where the data are. The good thing is the software remembers that we already created one. So that connection's already been made. Another useful thing is that ArcMap has a small ArcCatalog built into it. And we can open that and add our data directly from ArcCatalog. So here on the top of my ArcMap window, there's this button here to the right of the scale that says Catalog. If I click that, then I get this window opening on the right. So this little panel, it looks just like the catalog tree from ArcCatalog. I'm also going to click this pin up at the top to pin it open. Whoops. So that way when I move my mouse off of it, it stays open. I prefer to leave it open all the time because I'm usually switching folders or adding data. And then see here under folder connections, it remembers I've already connected to that D Intro to GIS data folder. And if I expand it and open that folder, I'll see all that same data that we were looking at before. So does everybody have the catalog window on the right? So let's go to that political folder. So this has political data in the mapping sense. Things like borders, counties, and so on, not like election data or anything. But let's start with this data set. Where is it? I'm sorry, I meant the political geodatabase. And let's add this USA major cities. What you need to do is expand that political.gdb. Where's my mouse? Click USA major cities and drag it over to the map and release the mouse. And that's how the easiest way, I think, to add data to the map. Another way to do it is where we added the base map. Here we can click that drop-down arrow, say Add Data, and then you can also use a window, which if you look is exactly the same as what you see in your catalog window, and you can navigate to your data that way. I find this is more useful because I'm often adding data to my map. So we added some cities. What kind of data did we just add? Vector, right? So these are points. We can see in the table of contents now, we have our data frame, again called layers. Now we have this USA major cities, and beneath that I can see this green dot, right? That's showing me how those are being drawn in my map. So in mine, they're these small green circles. They may be different on yours. The map just picks a color. And then I can see beneath that is this base map layer, that world topographic map. All right.
Or at major cities, did you say that there?
Sorry?
The addition of major cities?
No, I didn't add anything else. All I did was click there,
Okay.
and then click and hold on it, and then drag it over to the map.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing on my computer.
Right, I think you missed that first part. So what you want to do is click this button here that says connect to folder, and then go to computer and the D drive, and then scroll down, keep going till it says, all right, go back up. GIS for engineering and environment, scroll down, introduction to GIS, and the data folder. Yep, and then say OK. So that's the file path for the data. If you scroll over here and expand this folder, yep, and then open that political.geodatabase,
And just drop it.
and then grab the USA major cities and drag that one over.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
this file from here. What happens if you like take a file from that kind of storage?
I'm going to add it and then just take it out.
Yeah.
Does the exact same thing. And then if I can just remove it. Is that what you're asking? Sorry.
Yeah, does it store it differently?
No.
So you just, like you said before, have to include all the ones you used if you send it out, like to.
Yes, right. All right. So now let's also add this USA major rivers in the geodatabase right underneath it. I'm going to click on it, drag that guy over, and release. And then for the third one, I'm going to do this one called US state underscore 500K. And I'm going to drag that to the map. So something I should point out that I think I forgot before is that none of the file names for the data have spaces in them. And this is important. If you do a lot of computing of any sort, you know it's a bad practice to use spaces. With GIS in particular, it's important never to use spaces in your folder or file names. Sometimes they won't draw if you do processing or analysis